Welcome to the On Purpose Investor Podcast, show number 54.
I think if we had been working on the things we enjoyed and were good at and not trying to do everything ourselves, we would have been able to get more faster.
Yeah. Welcome to the On Purpose Investor Podcast with your host Eric and Tiffany Vogel. We've spent several hard years building a rental property portfolio so we can have more time with our family and live our ideal life. Now, finding your path can be difficult, so we're here to guide you along the way with lessons, tips, and tricks to design and implement your dream life. Now, sit back, turn up the volume, smash that follow button, and get ready for this episode of the On Purpose Investor. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the On Purpose Investor Podcast. I'm your host, Eric, with my slightly sunburnt, beautiful wife who just had a birthday. Happy birthday,
Tiffany. I didn't know if you were going to keep going, or I never know.
Yeah, you just never know. Yeah. It's part of the act. Just try to keep you on your toes.
Yeah. Well,
your newly painted toes.
You got two kids that also keep me on my toes, and two dogs.
Sometimes they step on them.
Yeah.
And then you get a boo-boo, and Otto has to run up with his Neosporin in quotes, his medicine. Everything needs medicine now.
Yeah. You gave him an apple this morning and peeled the skin off of it because that's the gross part.
It is the gross part.
And he started rubbing it on my skin for me. I guess I got an apple massage.
I guess that's something that might exist places, like those very luxury.
Yeah, I guess I got a luxury spa treatment from a 2.5-year-old.
Enough banter. We got to get into this episode before people skip and go to the next one. All right, number 54. First of all, we've made it to episode 54. That's huge. It's awesome. And we're going to start doing one every single week with no breaks.
Yeah.
So excited for that.
Planning to hopefully start bringing on some guests again, but keeping our regular Tuesday episodes just us.
Yeah.
And having some guests come on for a bonus, maybe Friday episode.
Yeah. For
a little while. We'll see how it goes. And
maybe not every Friday, but every now and then we might throw in a Friday episode of a guest that we bring on. Yeah. We've, for some reason, gotten a lot of emails, people wanting to come hop on the On Purpose Investor podcast.
They want to come on and they have great stuff. Like their content, I think, would really be helpful for people. So want to provide as much value as we can.
Absolutely. So episode 54 today, what are we talking about? We're going to talk about how investing on your own is the absolute slowest way to build wealth.
Yeah. When we started, we read a bunch of books. We listened to podcasts. We did all the free stuff or really cheap stuff. And went to our local meetup, but that was about it as far as like team sport with us.
I had this mentality of $1,000 for this course or $1,000 to put into the property that we're working on.
Right. Because we didn't have a ton of cash to invest. We were robbing Peter to pay Paul and solo K loans, credit cards with 0% interest and bootstrapping it for sure. Yeah. So our thought was, I can't waste money on anything but getting deals.
That's right. And any money that wasn't going into the property meant it was going to take longer to get that property done.
Right.
But it's so the opposite.
Right. And I wish we had known that. Like we could have gotten there so much faster or gotten more in the same amount of time had we just shifted a few things that we did.
Now, we're not talking exactly like we did on the previous episode where we said, saving tons of dollars is the worst way to get started, where we talked about going half pie deals, where we talked about partnering and doing JVs. This is a little bit different mindset of, doing it on your own. And what we're saying about doing it on your own is the worst way to get started is we're talking about having a community of people to encourage you, to support you, and to teach you. So that's where we're talking about being on your own.
Right.
Now, we were surrounded by podcasts. We were surrounded by the small meetup we went to. And we were surrounded by the webinars we would go on and watch, but we weren't a part of this really extensive network of people.
Yeah, well, I think part of it was our friends were friends that we'd had for a long time, and they weren't necessarily people in the business. So when you have a crappy day of working 12 hours, who do you call? Like, because your friends don't get it. They're like, why are you working so hard?
Yeah. And usually those friends bring on the white noise.
Right.
And the white noise that surrounds any type of real estate investing is usually bad tenants, leaky toilets,
Right.
people damaging your properties. That's all the white noise.
Right.
And I wrote an awesome blog on this about 2 years ago. How do you fix the white noise?
Yeah.
But that's a tangent. If you want to read that blog, go on the onpurposeinvestor.com website, check out the blogs. It's a neat read. I had a lot of fun writing it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But so how do you get started? Like, what do you do to start moving in the right direction?
Yeah. I mean, you can totally do what we did and consume podcasts like this one and Bigger Pockets or YouTube videos. I mean, there's so many good podcasts out there where you can get tons of great information.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we had found great mentors and taken their seminars and learned their stuff and implemented it, or really digging in on one particular part of the business.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay at property management. We do a good job between the two of us at that, but that's not something we particularly enjoy. So if we had spent more time figuring out how to find good deals and how to find great financing, and that's all I did.
Right.
And I outsourced everything else. I mean, you remember I had it was like every landlord's legal guide, and it was like a 600-page book that I read cover to cover when I should have just paid the couple $100s to have an attorney create our LLC and teach me all the things I needed to know.
But you save money.
Right. I saved money, but at what cost? Because I could have taken that time. I didn't value my time.
Neither one of us did.
Yeah. I could have taken that time and instead been learning how to find better deals or more deals. And you could have taken the time you spent watching YouTube videos, learning how to fix everything in the house, hiring a contractor,
and finding more deals.
Right.
Yeah. We didn't start learning how to value our time until we read the book, Your Money or Your Life.
That started it, but I think it was seeing it. I think it was kids, honestly, that really shifted it for me. Because I could either spend this time sitting here with my kid, or I could go read this book.
Yeah. I think for me, it all shifted when we were buying a house a month for about 6-7 months straight.
Yeah.
And when we were doing that, we had a lot of great systems. We had a good crew. We had, we were finding the right deals.
Right.
We were able to finance them. We were able to work on them. We were able to buy a house a month.
Yeah.
And when we got to like the third or fourth house, I was kind of like looking up and like looking around at what was happening. And it was just systematized. It was happening. But I wasn't, doing all that work. I wasn't doing any of the work.
Right.
I would pick up materials here and there, but that was just so I could visit the old ladies at Lowe's and say, hey,
right.
Because I'd gotten to know them really well. But it was at that point that I realized, wow, we are going so fast and it feels so light.
Right.
Because my time was spent where I needed to be.
Well, where you enjoyed spending your time too.
Yeah. I was living within my purpose.
You went to Lowe's because you liked hanging out with the ladies there at the pro desk. Like
Mara and Patty, those are my folks.
Yeah. I remember going in when I was pregnant and them coming up to me like they had known me for a long time. And I was just like, hi, crazy ladies. I don't know you, but you knew them.
I talked about Tiffany all the time and just would tell them, hey, we're pregnant.
Yeah.
Hey, she's had an ultrasound. Here's the baby. Like
they saw the ultrasound.
They knew everything.
I didn't know them at all though. So it was just kind of comical. But I think if we had been working on the things we enjoyed and were good at and not trying to do everything ourselves, we would have been able to get more faster.
Yeah. So one of those types of ways to get there faster is coaching.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, why should I pay for this coaching program when you can get it online for free?
Right. I can watch YouTube videos or podcasts and
and a lot of people say that. They say, you can learn how to wholesale on YouTube and it's free, and you can.
Yeah.
You can learn how to, like I did, you can learn how to renovate a whole house on YouTube and it's free.
Yeah. And it applies to every aspect of life. I mean, we have realized I can pay any amount of money to learn something from someone through an online course and save so much time. Like potty training. It was a $35 online course. And I was like, take my money because I don't want to spend the time trying to research what I need to be doing.
And for all intents and purposes, you pretty much did it within like 5 days.
Yeah.
May have been like 3 days.
Yeah, they have a 3-day program and we struggled for a couple more days, but
yeah,
it was 3 days to like kickstart it. We've paid for courses on sleep training the kids because the amount of time it would take for me to go online, do all the research, decide, do I trust this person and does it fit with the other stuff I'm trying to do? Versus paying the money and just letting someone else teach me, following their program and doing what they say in the program.
Right.
And our kids have been sleeping great. Our 2-year-old's been potty trained. I didn't have the mental bandwidth to try to figure it all out on my own. Right. So I took a shortcut by letting them help me.
Yeah. When you go through that course, they don't just say, this is the end result and here's how you get there. They tell you these are the common mistakes that you'll likely want to do.
Right.
You'll likely want to take this shortcut, but here's why it's wrong.
Yeah.
Or you might see someone else teaching it this way, but here's why my way works better.
Right.
There's a course out there for everything.
Yeah.
And I think I might buy the one on doing the handstand next week. Okay. And while we're on vacation in the mountains, do that $10 course on how to do a handstand for 10 minutes, something like that.
I think the thing is, it's having a step-by-step process. Yeah. You can find it on YouTube and you can go read a bunch of books, but having one step at a time, because I think so often we get stuck on, what about step 10? How am I going to handle step 10?
Right.
But you aren't even at step 2. Let's get through step 1. And that's where I think sometimes having a methodology like that helps work through it.
Right.
And I know for us, our first leap was we went on a cruise.
Yeah.
And we're like, this is going to be a great vacation. Little did we know it was going to rock our world. I mean, even just sitting in the hot tub after dinner one night, we start chatting with this couple and they became good friends of ours.
Yeah.
Because we later joined a mastermind that they were a part of.
Right. It was definitely, we were in the mindset of, we're going to learn something. This is a cruise seminar, so it's not a full in-depth on one topic. Right. There's kind of 6 people speaking, so it'll be grazing the surface. And it wasn't. It was just, all the way nitty-gritty into everything that was happening. And then you're stuck on a boat with them.
Yeah.
And so you wake up early in the morning. There's always someone at what they call that?
Windjammer.
There's someone at the Windjammer.
The breakfast cafeteria.
Yeah, eating bacon and eggs. And you pop down next to them. They got their lanyard on. You see them. So you just pop down and start talking. And there were 150 or so investors on that cruise. And we talked to every one of them. We ended up speaking to every single one of them. And the majority of people that we met on that cruise are people that we keep running into.
Right.
And are people that we continue to find that we're benefiting from that established relationship. Yeah. Whether it's just a phone call of, hey, did you hear about this happening in Georgia? Right. I know it kind of already happened in North Carolina. How did it affect your rentals?
Right.
And it's you don't have to read the things that happen. You get to have a relationship with someone that has experienced it, or, vice versa. They're going to call you and say, did y'all get a rent control thing for 3% growth? How did you navigate that?
Right.
It really helps to develop relationships.
Yeah. So we went on the cruise. We had never attended a seminar. And I think seminars have this connotation of you go to the seminar and then at the end, they're going to upsell you on the, it's a $500 class. So they're going to upsell you to the $2,000 class, which is going to upsell you to the $10,000, to the $30,000. And then next thing you know, you have no money to invest.
Every seminar that we've ever recommended on this show and every seminar we've been to, you pay for it and you go and get the content.
And you get more value than what it costs.
And there's never an upsell for this, next level elite program or package.
Right.
Everyone that I know of, that we have promoted have been ones of people that we trust. They're mentors of ours that we fully buy into what they're doing because we see that it's successful for them. Not only that, but they kind of live the life that we're trying to live.
Right.
Try to follow the people that are doing the things that you're wanting to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you can learn from their mistakes. I think that's the key. You can get to your goals faster if you can learn from somebody else's mistakes and mishaps.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I think for us, we were so hesitant to spend the money because we were focused on saving a couple $1,000s. Yeah. I mean, that cruise, we did not have the money for that cruise. We put it on the credit card.
It was $5,000.
Yeah. We just figured it out though. Then we get on the cruise and they're like, hey, we're starting this mastermind. And we're like, we have to do it. This is how we're going to continue growing. Okay. It was $7,500. And we're like, can we put it on the credit card?
Yeah.
I mean, I want to be clear. At the time, we had W-2 income and the rentals So we knew we had a plan to pay that card off.
Let's be clear. We had
quickly.
like 3 or 4 rentals at that point.
Yeah.
And Tiffany still had her W-2 sugar mama job. So I say that lightheartedly.
Yeah.
but
we knew we had a plan to get the card paid off.
Yeah.
It's not like we were just sitting here racking up $40,000-$50,000 on the card.
Yeah.
It is not the situation.
With no exit plan.
Yeah. There was.
No, we definitely had a plan and we stuck to that plan.
But we did not have the cash in the bank to do it.
No. And in order to pay off that card, we did do the Ramsey beans and rice or rice and beans. We cut back everything.
Yeah.
And we invested our money in, instead of investing our time into these projects, we would pay for people to work on our projects or do the things that we didn't have time to study for or do. And we put it into seminars.
Yeah.
And
after the shift happened.
It was after the shift.
Before
on the
we
ship.
Were doing everything. That's dumb.
It was ship shifting.
Yes. But I would cook dinner and bring it to us. There was not really any eating out because fast food was too expensive. Like,
yeah, I love telling the story. I don't love that moment of my life because it was awful, but I love telling the story. I had a blow up mattress in that property, and I always had a box of Pop-Tarts, a loaf of bread, and like the jar of Goobers.
Yeah.
A jar of Goobers PB&J. And I'd make PB&Js and just put it on one piece and just fold it in half like a taco. And I'd eat Pop-Tarts.
And then you'd climb into the attic and almost pass out and die.
Find snake skins.
Yeah.
It was rough. On one of these episodes toward the front, like between episodes 1 and 6, somewhere in there is in the show notes a link to that snake skin.
Oh gosh.
That I found in that attic where I almost died.
Yeah. But if we had invested in something like, and let me say, the cruise is coming back around in March. Mm-hmm. We're launching out from Florida. We'll be on there. It's the Generations of Wealth cruise.
Yep.
If you search on Facebook, you'll find it, or there's the website. I think it's GOW Cruises.
GOW Voyage, I think.
Okay.
Something like that.
We'll link it in the show notes.
You'll find it.
So highly recommend it. We'll be there, and the hosts are great. We're looking forward to learning and networking. And, I took a book on the first cruise thinking I was going to sit by the pool and read, and that is not at all what happened. No. It was not it was fun, but it was not like a sit by the pool relaxing vacation.
If this turns out to be one of your first seminars you go to, don't bring a book.
Yeah.
Bring 2 empty notepads.
Right.
And be ready to fill them up.
And ready to not sleep.
Yeah.
Because
I suggest having 2 people in your party.
One for the nighttime.
And one for the nighttime and one for the morning.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a different group of people. You're going to want to hit them all. The nighttime folks, that's my group. I stay up all night. I'll hang out in the windjammer till we close it down, and then we move to the rooftop. What do they call it? The anchor lounge or something like that. And we'll drink and
you never know. Eric might talk. Be at the piano bar singing a little song.
Who knows? But that is just an example of how it took us like 2.5 years to get to the point where we went on that cruise.
Yeah.
And in 2.5 years, we bought like 3 or 4 properties. After the cruise, and you fast forward 2.5 years, we bought another 12.
Yeah.
And it was obviously, if you just look at it like that,
right?
It's like, what happened? What shifted?
It was not just the cruise. It was the cruise. And then we signed up for the mastermind. And then we're like, oh crap, like these classes that we've been hearing about for the last 2 years, we need to start going to them.
We always trusted what Danny said.
Yeah.
And Danny is Sammy. If you ever read the book Pathfinder's Journey, he's such a sweet, awesome man, and his wife, and they're just wonderful people.
Yeah.
And they host that meetup that we call our home, our investor home.
Yes.
And we always trusted what he said about the seminars, but we never were able to get over the hump of, is it really worth it?
Right. Because it's for each of us to go to get into the class itself was $1,000, $1,200.
Yeah.
And then you have the hotels and flights if needed. And all of a sudden a $600 seminar became a $3,000 investment.
Yeah.
But had we spent that money, we would have saved so much time and money on other things.
And we have one class in particular that was like instantly.
Yeah.
We were able to get out of a bad situation.
Right.
Let's talk about that.
So I signed up for the seminar. Luckily it was Zoom because COVID hit and everything went to Zoom, which was perfect because Otto was tiny. So I I think I was like nursing while on the Zoom call. Like it was a mess, but I took this online class and I'm quoted on the website as saying like the first 15 minutes of the seminars saved me more than the cost of the class.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean,
and it's the truth.
It's totally the truth. We had a property, and this was all during COVID. The tenant lost her job, or she was working in a nursing home. So she kept getting COVID. And every time she got a positive COVID test, she was out of work for 2-3 weeks. So
no pay. Yeah.
Right. So she was in a bad situation, and she moved in January, and we all know COVID hit in March. So she paid like 2.5 months of rent and then stopped. Yeah. And we were trying to work with her, and eventually we wound up just negotiating her rent to where it covered our expenses.
Yeah.
And at the end of the year, she moved out. Fortunately, everything was okay. But I took this class, I think it was on the back half of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And if we had implemented that contract, we would have been able to get out of that rental agreement because there were no evictions allowed. So we just worked with her as much as we could and, just made it through.
Mm-hmm.
But if we had had that framework that he teaches and had that contract, we could have terminated the contract legally.
Mm-hmm.
And no judge could, combat it because that's what the contract said. And it wasn't an eviction. We were just terminating the contract, and we could have gotten her out and gotten somebody else in that would have paid the full rent.
Right.
And on our tax return that year, I think we made $4 is what it said for that house.
That was the hardest fought $4
I know.
ever.
And I was driving to the house to pick up envelopes of cash every couple weeks from her. Like
I think I met up with that young lady 2 or 3 times outside the food line.
The food what?
The food lion. So anyway, I'll finish the story, then I'll tell you what she's getting at. So we meet outside the grocery store.
Yes.
A few times, and we did lease modifications.
Right.
We're going to move to weekly pays.
Yes.
And we're going to recapture this over here, and we're going to apply this to that. We're going to end the lease date, X days or X weeks shorter, and we're going to modify it. We did everything we had to do so that she was okay and we were okay. And our goal was to just get out of it.
Right.
And that she was able to get out without an eviction.
Because she already had an eviction. Yeah. And she was working with this community, like charity organization. And they were like, she's solid. She's going to pay. It's not going to be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And now we don't rent to people who have had an eviction, period.
Yeah.
Partially because of that experience and what I learned in the course.
And she wasn't the only person we have rented to that has had an eviction. And we are probably 3 for 3 on if they had an eviction, it usually leads to another eviction.
Right.
I know that's not true for every person in America or on this planet, but it has been our experience, and that's where we draw the line.
Yeah. All right. Give your food line.
Oh, so up there at that course,
for the Army.
Like I said, I'm the only Southern guy. I'm the only Southerner in general up there. And it wasn't
at your Army course.
At the Army course I just got home from. And it wasn't very long until the woman I was sitting beside looked at me and she said, "Eric, do you know what a diphthong is?" And I was like, "No, but it sounds weird. I mean, it sounds like something you wear to the pool or maybe inside your bedroom." She's like, "You should Google it." So I Googled it and I learned that a diphthong is where there's 2 vowels that back up to each other. And it's usually, it changes the syllable in the middle of those vowels. So one is like O-I-L. How would you say that word?
Oil.
I don't say it that way. I say oil. So I don't. It could be my laziness of the Southernism or just the way Southerners say words.
So the food lion is
So we're saying L-I-O-N. Now, if I'm talking about those animals in the safari, that's a lion. Did I do it? Yes. And if you're standing in the queue at the grocery store, that is called a line. You stand in line at the food line. They made fun of me.
With your buggy.
With your buggy. That They just consistently continue to pick on me. Poor little Eric, just getting picked on. I always told them, I said, is this where you want to be where Jesus comes back? Picking on poor little Eric.
Oh my God.
And I stole that from Joe Dirt, the movie.
Of course you did.
But I said it.
All right. Going back into it, we were just so worried about saving every penny that we didn't realize we were wasting money through the opportunity cost of our time and just paying for somebody else's lessons.
Mm-hmm. And that's what the coaching and the seminars do, and any type of group learning.
Right.
It's a collaborative effort.
So, I mean, the ways to get into this is go to seminars, go on things like the cruise. Yeah. And especially if you can go to seminars where it's the same group of people. Yeah. Like if you resonate with Bigger Pockets, go to the different Bigger Pockets events. Yeah. And you'll start to see the same people. If we really like the Millerite group, so it's all the students of Jack Miller who now teach. Yeah. And I think there's, Jack's the grandfather. You've got the parents that are teaching right now, and some of them are starting to phase out teaching. So there's some of us that are younger coming in. Right. So there's a network of people teaching.
And what they teach works. Right. And it may just be that group does it a little different than this group. Right. And so like the different groups that I've seen out there, there's Mark Ferguson out in Colorado. There's Dustin Heiner. I believe he's in Arizona. They just did their conference, RubeCon. We had Dustin on not too long ago, and we were trying to get people from our podcast out there to support Dustin. And he had, several hundred people at RubeCon this year, which looked amazing. So Dustin, if you're checking out this episode, congratulations. And we can't wait to be at the next one. I know it's going to be on the East Coast next year. So we're going to go, dabble in some other areas and see how that goes. I know this winter we're going out to California possibly, or Las Vegas.
That is so we sign up for education for everything. So we're going out to California for a group that helps build like online content. Okay. So it's helping us with the podcast. It's helping us with building out like Dream Life University. When we did that, we're working on a new program. We're going to be calling it Secure Legacy Code. And the idea is that it's going to help you hack your way into financial freedom through rental properties. So we're going to meet up with some people who have online businesses.
Yeah, just so you know, you may not have heard that. I just snuck into her sentence there. But that's the first time we've announced what our new course is going to be called. Yeah. And if you took Dream Life University last year, I know that the people that have taken that are making big moves. Mm-hmm. Several of them are, 2 to 3. One of them is about to close on his 5th property since taking that course. A lot of folks that took Dream Life University, they're exploding. And it makes me feel just so honored to have been a part of that journey. Right. But Secure Legacy Code is going to be Dream Life University, but Dream Life is only module 1. There's going to be several modules that have just expanded. Yeah. To be a part of this content.
The feedback we got was Dream Life University was great, but we didn't know what was next. Yeah. So we are consolidating everything into one course because it's just, I think you need all the aspects together to create a really good foundation for getting started. And I'm super excited. We might do a podcast episode talking about what's coming next with that, but I'm very excited to see where it goes, and we'll be launching that this fall. Yep. So stay tuned. We're very excited to bring it to people.
And if you are in the year 2033 and you just jump way back into the OPI podcasts, the year that we are talking in right now is 2023. So just know, hopefully SLC, Secure Legacy Code is still happening in 2033. Might be called something different. And maybe even bigger than Bigger Pockets by then.
Yeah. Who knows?
Maybe shoot for the stars, baby.
Right.
That's
it. So, I mean, you could definitely do stuff like Secure Legacy Code and going to seminars and going on the cruise and things like that. But there's other ways to learn too. Mm-hmm. You can find a mentor or a coach or a mastermind, really any of that. I mean, for us, that mastermind really helped push us to the next step. Yeah. And we wound up leaving the mastermind because we had a baby and didn't have time to go on retreats and really invest in it anymore.
But we didn't stop educating.
No.
We also, during that time, we signed up for Brandon Turner's mastermind. We were in the Better Life Tribe for a little while. And we also have
We
taken
did a
all
lot
these
of seminars,
courses,
yeah.
all these courses and seminars too.
Yeah. There's other ways too. You, like we talked about half pie deals.
Yeah.
Danny, our mentor, he got started doing half pie deals because he didn't have the cash and the resources to do all of it. So he was willing to share half of something is better than 100% of nothing. So
That's true.
that's, learn from that partner, because if they have half the deal, they care and they want to see you succeed. So
And
then you take that education and apply it to other deals.
And when you win, they win.
Right.
And when they win, everyone wins.
Right.
And when your little network is winning, all the new people that start showing up around you want to win with you.
Yeah.
And then you find a way to become the money side of it.
Right.
And they become the work side of it. And then it just snowballs.
Right.
It just gets bigger.
Right.
And then at that point, your dream life just starts getting to you faster.
Yes. Another opportunity is working with hard money lenders.
Mm-hmm.
People hate paying hard money rates. It sucks. I mean, they're high. But you have someone, again, who's interested in that deal. And if you win, they win. So we have a hard money lender that wouldn't lend on a house, and we moved forward with it anyways. And that was a big lesson. We got out of it okay because of where the market was. But I think if the market is where it is today, we would not be...
we would have wrote a big fat check to get rid of that house.
So, but had we listened to that hard money lender, we would have never gotten into that situation. Yeah. So hard money lenders can be another way to partner in a sense, and you can benefit from them.
Right.
But staying the lone wolf, doing it by yourself or with your spouse, or, not having that support can wear you out.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, it's so easy to get burnt out when you're doing it on your own. And I know for us, like, we felt so alone as we were first getting started because it was just us and no one else around us understood.
And the only people we had to talk to about the problems we were facing, about the wins we were having, were either each other or our old friend group. And which we still have that friend group.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about this stuff with them. Because when I talk about a huge win of, hey, we just built in $100,000 equity into this property we just did, and we got a $50,000 cash check at closing. Your friends that are, struggling to make ends meet, they don't want to hear that.
Right.
It's usually faced with that must be nice.
Yeah. Or you got lucky, and it's, we worked hard to get lucky, but
yeah, you create opportunities for wins to happen.
But they also didn't understand when we were bone tired and couldn't go to the family gatherings because we had been up all night swinging a hammer.
Yeah.
So it's both sides of it.
Yeah.
I think it was having the support system of people in the same stage as us too.
Right.
Because when we went to our local meetup, there were people there, but a lot of them were already financially free. Or they had just barely started and were still trying to figure out the basics.
Yeah.
So I think once we found people in the same stage as us was when it was like really helpful to propel us.
Yeah. Because when you find those people, you start hearing about what they're doing.
Right.
It's really easy to be like, so in that group that we got started in, we were sort of a big fish in a little pond for the stage we were in.
In our local market.
In our local market.
Right. And then we got into that group.
And we were all just little fish.
Yeah.
All of us were little fish in this really
except Dan.
Big pond.
Dan was a big fish.
Dan's always been a big fish, winning and eating all the other little guppies. I mean, Dan is a winner.
Yeah.
And
he's got the pig to show for it.
But he's so humble.
He is.
And you go ask Dan, hey Dan, do you have any rental properties? Yeah, I got a few. Hey, really, just a few? Yeah, I guess so.
He does.
I'm trying to make fun of his accent just a little bit, but it's definitely not coming through. Don't you know?
Oh my God. Okay. Stick to the Southern.
Dan, did you have anything to do with those Alberta fires? I don't know. You're close enough.
Wow. Call him out.
Dan?
Okay.
Maybe it was Emma, his pig.
Literally, he has a pig. She's great. So building your network of people in the same stage, I think, is really where we had someone we could call, or hearing like their struggles too. Like, I don't know. It made it easier to deal with the suck.
And then seeing how hard charging they were.
Yeah.
Because we would feel like, oh, we did a house this quarter. And they're like, I did a house this week.
Yeah.
And I got another house next week.
Right.
It's like, holy smokes, we could even push harder. because they're making it. There's no reason why we can't make it.
Exactly.
So it's one of those groups that you're in. It's like, you think you're doing really well, then you see someone else doing something exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
But 5x, 10x, some of them 20x.
Yeah.
It's like, dang.
Yeah.
And it just propels you.
Right.
It's encouraging. It's encouraging, and you're not alone in it. It's not like you're just hard charging and flying by the seat of your pants on, 2 deals a month. It's, hey, me and this person and this person and this couple and this other person, we're all doing 2 deals a month. And we're going to keep each other accountable, and we're going to see what's working for them.
Right.
Have they seen rates change? What are their markets doing?
Right. Do you have a good lender? Do you have a good,
just so many,
back and forth.
There's so many resources to share within these groups that you put together.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think getting out of the lone wolf mentality would have really helped propel us faster.
100%.
And doing that through seminars, partnering, working with hard money lenders, or just finding a mentor, coach, mastermind, anything like that. Just being around people. I mean, Jim Rohn's quote that's way overused, and I overuse it, is you're the average of the 5 people you're around. And it's true. Yeah. I thought listening to a podcast means that I'm around that person. And that's true to a point. But I couldn't call Brandon Turner and Josh Dorkin back then and ask questions and have them get feedback. So get around people who are doing it.
Yeah.
And go to your meetup, but also get coffee with someone outside of the meetup and really get to know them and get to where you can call and text them with questions.
Mm-hmm. It's important.
Yeah.
My brain's just spinning. I was thinking about all the things that have happened in the past, and it's like my brain needed to defrag for a second.
So you were buffering.
I was absolutely buffering, and it's like the little circle of death started happening. And it's like, is it ever going to stop spinning?
All right.
That's my brain.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at you thinking you were going to talk, and there was just nothing.
Well, I wanted to, but I couldn't because I was
buffering.
I was buffering.
Well, I think finding people to be in your community gets you to your goals faster, and you learn from their mistakes instead of paying for that seminar. And LaCayu, like you'll always like to bring up.
I try to say it right. Is this the Streets University? I try to say it right, but I'm like, LaCayu.
Yeah.
LaCayu.
You're like
LaCayu.
Wanting his pepperoni patsy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we were trying so hard to save every penny we could to invest in the deal. And I think saving by not spending on Netflix and eating out and things like that was the right call.
Mm-hmm.
But we should have been investing in ourselves and our education instead of trying to save every penny.
Nickel and diming, which paint is a little bit cheaper, which light fixtures can we get at the rehab restore,
right?
Instead of just doing a bulk order on Lowe's or Home Depot.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time trying to save money.
Right. But if we had taken that time and flipped a house, we would have made more to cover the cost of all of that. And we wouldn't have been pulling our hair out, reading, listening to podcasts, searching the grimy shelves at the restore.
Yeah.
And we would have been happier. We wouldn't have felt so exhausted, I think.
It's true. But we didn't know what we didn't know.
Right. That's where I want to pass this knowledge on.
Yeah.
Because if we had picked 1 or 2 things to really go deep on and being the best at, and then we could have outsourced stuff. Like if we had gotten really good at finding deals back then, we could have started wholesaling and made income. And
there were so many deals.
I know.
2017, 2018, 2019. We should have bought 100 more than we did.
I know, but we weren't ready for it.
We weren't ready, and there will come another time.
Right.
When it happens again. And it may be in 10 years, it may be in 40 years.
Right.
But when the time comes again, we will be ready.
Yeah.
We'll have the education, and we'll have the network, and we'll have the resources to make that happen.
Right.
And it's not just, we're not just going to win. We're going to make sure everyone that's surrounded by us wins.
Yeah.
So surround yourself by winners and you will win.
Right.
And that's something Leon Johnson loves to say it. I love hearing him say it. And he didn't come up with it. But if you help enough people get what they want, you will in turn get what you need and want.
Zig Ziglar.
Zig Ziglar. That's it. So.
All right. That's all we got.
That's it. So what are you going to do? Right? We just told you.
Yeah.
So,
and if we can help, send us a DM or shoot us an email. and let's see how we can help you. Because if you have a particular thing you want to learn, we can tell you what seminars we've been to, and that helped us learn that topic. And if we don't know, we'll find an answer. So send us a DM, shoot us an email. Let's see how we can help.
That's it. All right. Well, we'll see you next week, Pathfinders. We love to say that. I love to say that. I don't think she's ever said it. I love to call the listeners of the OPI Nation Pathfinders, because Pathfinder's Journey is the book that we wrote, and pathfinding is the journey from where you are right now to your dream life. And that's what we want to do here at the On Purpose Investor, is to get people to live their lives with hyper intentionality and get to their dream life. So I'm going to keep saying it.
All right. Well, and if you read the book and you don't know what's next, this podcast is great, but I think what we're building with the Secure Legacy Code is really going to help you get to that next level. So stay tuned for that. I'm super excited.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week for episode 55. Until then, reach out to us if you need us, and you take care, folks. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. Head over to onpurposeinvestor.com and sign up for our newsletter to get all the latest updates. If you haven't already, we'd really appreciate an honest review wherever you watch our podcast. All right, now go smash that subscribe and follow button for more tips on building your dream life. See you next week, Pathfinders.